welcome back to our YouTube channel. Today is going to be majority of just me talking. SHEMAR may come in at the end, but we will see. I am going to be talking about my labour and delivery during a pandemic. So let's just get right into the video. I'm going to be taking you guys way back to when I was 38 weeks pregnant. I wasn't very well towards the end of my pregnancy. I had my 38-week appointment with my midwife and I basically went in and tried to beg her to be induced. So when I went on maternity leave at 35 weeks pregnant, I was just at home, fine, chilling, thinking, yep, I'm living my absolute best life. I'm on maternity leave, this is amazing. And then I suddenly just felt really ill. I basically ended up being in hospital and I had bacterial sinusitis. I was on 3 lots of antibiotics. It was horrendous. I had the most awfulest headache I've ever experienced. I basically just went in to my midwife and was like, I want to be induced. I've absolutely had enough. I've spoken to 3 or 4 different doctors and no one would induce me. It was, yeah, hard, stressful. My midwife basically said to me, risk to you and there's no risk to the baby, so we will not be inducing you, but what we can do is when you get to 40 weeks, then we will just send you straight to triage and you will then be induced then. But I had to wait another 2 weeks in hindsight to be induced if I didn't go into labour naturally. So bearing in mind, we was not in this lockdown that we're in now. So I had Larea at the 26th of March and this was the week before, so we was in the middle of March. Obviously coronavirus was here and around, but we wasn't in lockdown. So to me, I just thought everything's going to be normal and I'm going to, you know, be able to have my 2 birth partners there and yeah, everything's going to be fine. So I then went to my mum's after and she actually made a joke and was like, oh, imagine if you was only allowed 1 birth partner. And I was like, oh no, like, I've just literally left the midwife. Like, if anything was happening, if there were any new rules, and she would have 100% told me. So mum was like, yeah, okay, hour, 2 hours. And then she calls me and she's like, I've heard that, you know, you're only allowed 1 birth partner. I was like, mum, chill out. Like, there's no way. I would have been told. I've just seen my midwife. She would have told me. My mum was like, all right then, I'm going to call the hospital. So my mum took it on herself to try and call the hospital. And she was on hold for almost an hour. No one picked up. And in the end, I thought, I'm going to try and call. And I couldn't get hold of anyone. So that's when my anxiety actually started, because I'm thinking, like, this is the triage number that I'm calling and no one's answering. If I'm in labour, if you know, if you haven't had children, then when you are in, when you think you're in active labour, then you are supposed to call your triage. And I'm thinking, oh my God, this is the number I'm supposed to call when I'm in labour, and they're not answering. Like, what the hell is going on? So no one answered. I didn't get an answer. My mum was really panicking at this point and I was like, do you know what? I'm pretty sure I have a few people on Facebook that work in the hospital. I'm just going to put a status on Facebook and ask. The response that I got was, yeah, like 16 different people replied to me and was like, yeah, you're only allowed 1 birth partner. And I was literally like, oh my God. No way. I called my mum and I was like, yeah, I've heard it's true. I'm only allowed 1 birth partner. What am I going to do? Like, I thought there's no way I can go through this labour with this splitting headache that I've had for almost 5 weeks now, because I had it from 35 weeks pregnant. At this point, I'm 38 weeks pregnant, but I'm thinking ahead like, oh, if I go to 40 weeks, then that would have been 5 weeks. I've had this headache for, there's just no way that I can do this. We were absolutely heartbroken, the both of us. I was really, really down for the whole rest of the week. That whole week, I was just like, I can't do this. I don't know what's going to happen, but there's just no way. And obviously that must have been quite hard, thinking back on it now. It must have been quite hard on SHEMAR, because I'm basically saying I can't do it without my mum, sort of thing. But he is going to be my absolute rock. In his eyes, he just stepped up straight away and was like, do you know what? it's awful that you can't have your mum there, but I will be your biggest support and I will do everything I can to get you through that labour. And I take my hat off to him. He was absolutely amazing. I was in bits and he just stepped up and was like, we're gonna be okay, like we have to get through this on our own sort of. Next week I then was 39 plus 3. I then had reduced movements. Tried every trick in the book. Like they say, if you have reduced movements, then lie on your left side for at least 2 hours, have a cold drink and see if baby moves. I tried all of that. She wasn't moving as much. You're supposed to do kick count as well from 28 weeks, which I tried to do, and she didn't reach the 10 movements. So then Shamar was like, you know what, let's just go for a walk around the block and see if we can get her moving. So we've had our little walk now, we've come home and still I'm thinking, nothing. This baby's being quite stubborn. So I then said to Shamar, do you know what, I'm just gonna call triage. I think like when you're a first time mum, when it's your first pregnancy, you overthink everything, and I knew in my heart that I hadn't really felt her, but I didn't want to call and then look silly. I tried to call triage and I was on hold for almost half an hour and they didn't answer. Bearing in mind, I've just called them a week before and my mum tried to call, I tried to call, no one answered. So now I'm like, wow, my due date is literally on Saturday and if I go into labour, these people are not answering the phone. What am I going to do? Like, why? Surely this is not allowed. Like, why is triage just not answering the phone? So then I tried to call 111 and no answer. And by the way, this is now when we're officially in lockdown. So this is the Tuesday. We started lockdown on the day before, the Monday. So now we are officially in lockdown. The whole world is literally in this massive pandemic and it's just crazy. Obviously, no one's gone through this before. So the NHS is really struggling. 111, you can't get through to 111. I can't get through to the hospital. I'm thinking, what is actually going on? Like, is this life? Is this actually happening to me? Am I going to just birth my baby at home because I can't get hold of anyone? Like, they say you cannot go to the hospital unless you call triage. But I can't get hold of triage, so what am I going to do? Like, just all this anxiety is going through my mind. I just said to Shamar, do you know what? Let's have dinner quickly and let's just make our way down there because, yeah, basically I don't know what else we can do. Let's just go down to A&E and see if they'll send me up to maternity. So that's what we done. I basically got put onto a monitor and then Lorraine just thought, yep, that's it, party time. She was just jumping up and around, in my belly, just moving around, kicking into my ribs. Yeah, she just had a party basically at the hospital. So I probably just looked like a fool. The midwife probably thought, okay then, your baby's just fine now, moving around. When she then came back and looked on the monitor, she could then see that I was having contractions. So she was like, oh, you're having like tightenings. Can you feel them? I was like, yeah, of course I can. And she was like, okay then, so how painful are they? And I was just like, not really painful, they're okay, like I can talk through them sort of thing, they're fine. So she was like, all right, I'm going to see if you're dilated. So I was like, oh my God, hallelujah. At this point as well, I had literally just said to her, I've had this headache for almost 5 weeks now. No one wants to induce me. Please help me. So she was like, tonight might be your lucky night. On that night, I thought to myself, 100% I am getting induced. Yes, I'm not leaving this hospital. Like, Shamar's gonna have to go home and get all my stuff, the baby stuff. That's it, I'm set, I'm having this baby, yes. She came back and she was like, yeah, so I'm just gonna give you a sweet. I was like, so, am I not getting juice? And she was like, doctor's gonna come and see you, but your movements are fine, baby seems fine, heart rate good, blah, blah, blah. Basically, no. At this point, I had begged everyone to induce me and they just won't. But now I look back on it and I think, do you know what? I'm so glad everything happens for a reason, and I'm really glad that I didn't get induced, because I've just heard that it's a really long process, and I'm just glad that actually nature took its toll and my body just went into labour. I want to say naturally, but I had a sweep, so I mean, I don't know when she would have come. I mean, I could have gone a week overdue, 2 weeks overdue. If I didn't get this sweep, who knows? But yeah, this sweep definitely pushed things along for me. So the midwife examined me and she said, oh, you're 1 centimetre, I'm going to give you the sweep now. Ladies, if you've not had a sweep before and you're watching this and you're about to have a sweep, I won't lie to you, it is a little uncomfortable. It's not the worst pain in the world, it is a little bit uncomfortable. They do literally shove their whole hand up and root around. So I had the sweep and literally I then got discharged from the hospital, and I'm not joking, walking to the car was painful, really, really painful. I started getting contractions instantly. As soon as she gave me the sweep, that was it. And I thought, oh my God, like, I think I want to go home and only last at home for a couple of hours and have to maybe come back. We get home and I slept the whole night, woke up on the Wednesday and was like, well, that was fucking shit, basically. Yeah, just nothing. I had the painful contractions all the way home, got into bed, painful contractions, and then nothing. It stopped. I've never known someone to wish pain on themselves as much as I did. I just wanted this baby out. An awful headache, and I just had enough, and I knew that once I have her, like, this headache's gonna go. Nothing happened on Wednesday. I was really, really disheartened. I was basically losing my show the whole day. Basically was losing my mucus plug all the way through the day because of this sweep, which again I was thinking, okay then, you know, just trying to be sort of positive and think, all right, well, something's happening because I'm losing my mucus plug. So anyway, the evening comes and I'm on the phone to my mum on FaceTime. I'm absolutely fuming, face like this, the whole conversation. Put down the phone to my mum. I literally stood up and was like, I said, well, I feel like my water's just sort of trickled out a little bit. And he was like, are you sure? I was like, yeah, 100%. So then I went to the toilet. And to be in the movies, you expect it to be some massive gush. It wasn't like that for me. I just had a little trickle and then that was it. So I got into bed and then I lasted in bed around half an hour. Then at 11:45, my waters broke. I tried to do a little Usain Bolt and run to the toilet, but imagine I am heavily pregnant, so I didn't get very far. I tried to roll out of the bed, run, and then that was it. My waters just gushed everywhere. Yeah, so I thought to myself, because again in the movies you see that you just have a big gush and then that is it. It wasn't like that for me. Again, it might be different for every woman, but for me, my waters basically broke all night, so I didn't sleep. I just felt like I was like Niagara Falls. Like, it just, like, the waters just kept on coming. Like, so I woke up in the morning and my mum was like, right, are you gonna call triage? I was like, yeah. Like, I got up, put a wash on, got in the shower, just taking my sweet merry time, because to me, I know that my contractions are not here. I'm not feeling no pain. Although my waters have broken, I'm not really feeling any pain. So I know that what the hospital are going to say. They're not going to say, oh yeah, like quickly come in, like you're in labour. It's not going to be like that. So I'm just taking my time, making sure the flat's clean, making sure everything's ready. I call triage and I say, you know, my waters broke last night, blah, 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 blah. And the midwife says to me, yep, you've got to leave it as close to 24 hours as possible, because if you didn't know, then once your waters break, you only have about 48 hours to have the baby because you can get an infection. So she booked me in for 5 o'clock in the evening on the Thursday. They say to me on the phone, SHEMAR isn't allowed to come in with you for the first bit. That's what they said to me. So to me, I'm thinking, all right, fine. Like, he's not allowed to come in for the first bit of me being monitored and then talking to me about, you know, the options, because I might have had to have been induced, as in like have a drip in me, because my contractions still, if my contractions weren't strong by the time I get to the hospital. That's what they said to me on the phone. So me and SHEMAR sort of, you know, just done what we had to do. Really, like, just enjoyed our last day as a two. You know, we watched a few films and just chilled, cuddled, you know, just really, like, I don't even know, it was so weird. It just felt so surreal. Like, once we leave this house tonight at 4 o'clock, that's it. Like, we're gonna come back with our baby and like our world is gonna change. And it was so, like, I feel like I'm gonna get upset. It was just so surreal, like, just like knowing that I'm gonna go and have my baby. It was just crazy. So when we're driving to the hospital, I say to SHEMAR, you know, you're gonna have to wait outside. Hopefully it shouldn't be too long. Bearing in mind the pandemic and the lockdown has only been 4 days, because we're now on Thursday, the lockdown started on Monday. So no one's really that, you know, we don't really know what's going on in terms of labour and delivery, you know, the rules and stuff. So to me, I just assumed that he would be able to come in after I've been monitored, and, you know, they sort of get a plan in place for me. So yeah, I get to the hospital, and then the midwife books me in. Fine. By the time I get to the hospital, my contractions are like ramped up. They're not unbearable, but they're a little bit like, oh my God, that's a bit painful. So I remember walking up to the maternity ward, seeing SHEMAR in the car, just waiting and thinking, oh my God, like, this is just crazy. Everything was really surreal. Like, I couldn't really believe what was going on. And what was even more surreal for me is the fact that I'm doing this without my mum. That's what was really just, yeah, really hard. Like, I remember her sending me a message in the car, and she said, I would do anything to be there with you right now. And I just remember, like, I looked out the window and I was just, like, my eyes were really watering. I was trying so much to, like, hold the emotion back, which is what I'm actually basically trying to do now, hold the emotion back, because Loraya is only 6 weeks old and I am still very emotional. Yeah, SHEMAR calls me a tap. I'm emotional anyway. I remember her sending me a message and just saying she would do anything to be there. So as I'm going up this lift to maternity, I'm just thinking to myself, like, I can't believe this is happening, and I can't believe I don't have my mum there. So yeah, she puts me on the monitor, and Lorea's heart rate was quite high. It was 160, which is quite high for babies. Her heart rate every time it got monitored in the past was about 140 to 145. So it spiked up to 160. So she left me on the monitor, and then about half an hour later, she comes back and she's like, right, baby's still not moved, because basically they track it on the monitor for the baby's heart rate and the amount of movement. And I had a little thing in my hand I'm supposed to click every time she moved, and I hadn't clicked it once, and the monitor hadn't picked up any movements from her. So then the midwife came back and she said, all right, we're going to put you on your left side and see if baby moves, because baby isn't moving, she's asleep right now. I said, yeah, normally at this time she is asleep, but remember, I had just been in hospital for reduced movements literally 2 days before. So Loraya was like just a bit lazy towards the end of my pregnancy. I think she was just ready to come out, to be fair. Probably all them talks that I had been like sitting in the bedroom at home, like, come on, come out, baby. So yeah, she wasn't really moving, so I had on my left side, and then my contractions are really ramping up at this point, really ramping up, and I'm like, oh God, this is like really painful now. The midwife came back, and I said to her, so when is SHEMAR gonna be able to come in? Like, when? She went, oh, he's not. And I was like, pardon? And she was like, yeah, no, he's not allowed to come in until you're in established labour. So established labour is when you're 4, it used to be 3 centimetres, it's now 4. So bearing in mind, if you are being induced, you're being induced, that can take days. I know people that have gone, like, had like 60-hour labours and stuff, like that can be a really long process. So for them to say that your partner can't be with you until you're in established labour is really hard. Like, I just feel like that's so mean for like a woman to have to go through like her labour, basically the first stages of labour, which most women do at home. If you are induced, and you have to do that first process alone in hospital, like, I just find that, like, wow, like, I was gobsmacked. The fact that she said to me, well, no, he can't come up, because to me, I'm still 1 centimetre from Tuesday. Like, no, she hadn't examined me or anything yet, so I'm still 1 centimetre in my mind. So, and she's saying to me, yeah, he can't come up. So I'm like, okay then, so this could take absolutely hours for me to get to 4 centimetres, and I'm going to have to be here by myself. I was an absolute mess at that point. Like, every emotion was going through my mind, and I thought, I can't do this. I actually can't do this. I don't have my mum here, and now I don't have my boyfriend here. Like, how am I actually going to do this on my own? Luckily, I was 4 centimetres when I got examined. She literally come back in after telling me that SHEMAR can't be there, and was like, I'm going to examine you anyway and see how far you are. I was 4 centimetres, guys. I had like gone from 1 centimetre on Tuesday to 4 centimetres within the 2 days. I don't know whether I progressed within the time that I'd left my house to the hospital, which is only like a half an hour drive, or whether it took the 2 days to get to Fort St Luke's. I don't know. It wasn't painful for me. I was going on walks between the 2 days. I don't know whether it was all the walking that I'd done. I don't know. It wasn't even that painful for me, but I'd done it. So I called, and then I called Shemar and I was like, babe, you can come up, like you can come up. And he said, I'm already sitting in the corridor, like in the hallway with all your stuff. And I just could not believe it. I was like, oh my God, I'm gonna have this baby soon. I get this like lovely, lovely room. Like honestly, I can't fault the room that I had at the hospital. It was absolutely amazing. The midwife came in and said to me, oh, your contractions aren't close together. They are between 4 and 6 minutes apart. And for someone that's 4 centimeters, your contractions should be a lot closer together. So we may have to give you the drip, because by this point, the hormone drip, to speed things up. Because at this point, I've lost all my waters and it's almost been 24 hours. So they want to sort of get this baby moving and get me dilated quicker. So I'm thinking, oh God, no. I've gone this far with no intervention. The one thing that I kept crying out to everyone was I really want to be induced, but now I'm this far, I just want to do this on my own sort of thing. So I was like, oh no, that's not what I want. 10 minutes of her leaving and saying that to me, my contractions, I was timing on my phone, they were every 2 minutes. I couldn't believe it. I was like, what is going on? I've gone from every 4 to 6 minutes, within 10 minutes, every 2 minutes. So then Shemar comes back with like our snack bag, all the snacks, and I'm literally on the edge of the bed like trying to breathe through these contractions, but they are painful and they're coming thick and fast. And he was like, whoa, I've just seen you walk from one wall to the other, sort of in pain, but okay, but now you're like looking like you're in a lot of pain. And I'm like, yeah, these are, wow, painful. So then the midwife comes back in and she's like, right, good, this is brilliant, you're contracting a lot closer together, we're moving in the right direction. I had my suitcase there with all of my stuff that I wanted to get changed into. You know, I knew what I was going to give birth in. I wanted a water birth as well, but it was never anything that I set my mind on. I just thought, if I can have a water birth, then I'll have one. If I can't, then I won't. You know, what I will say is, if you are pregnant, when it comes to birth, it is the unknown. Like no one knows how your birth is going to be. Don't go in there with a really strict plan, because I feel like that will lead you to be disheartened and put a downer on things if things don't go your way. So I brought a bikini and I said to Shemar and my mum, you know, that I really want to go in the birthing pool and have her in the pool because I love water, but if I can't, then I'm not going to be upset about it. So I knew from the fact that Lorraine's heart rate was quite high, and that she wasn't really moving much during this whole process, that I would probably be on the monitor. The one thing I always said I didn't want was to be strapped up on the bed and not be able to move around. I wanted to feel free, move around. I wanted to give birth sort of bent over the bed if I was on the bed, and let gravity really help me pull her down. And I just knew instantly that I wasn't going to have that because I needed to be monitored. So I only was allowed to be off the monitor for about 10 minutes. I found that really hard once again, because I just was like, this is not what I want. I don't want to be strapped down to a bed. I just don't. I want to feel free. Yeah, if you've been pregnant and you've been on the monitor, it's not uncomfortable, but it's sort of just like, you just got to sit there, because if you move around, then they have to keep touching you and, you know, to make sure they're getting the baby's heart rate and stuff. And it's just not ideal. So I'm having to now be on this monitor and basically feeling like I need to poo. I just kept saying to the midwife and to Shemar, I need to poo. That's it, I need to poo. And Shemar was like, okay then Monique, well if you need to poo, then get up and go poo. Basically what was happening was every other contraction that I was having, the baby was moving down the birth canal. At the time, I obviously didn't know that. This is my first time having a baby, and the feeling is just crazy. Like, you need to poo, that's what it feels like, but it's like a painful poo. Like, I honestly can't put into words the pain, but it is mental. I'm like to Shemar, you need to get me gas and air. I need gas and air right now. So then he gets me the gas and air, the midwife comes with the gas and air, and I'm like, all right then, I'm expecting to feel high as shit, because that's what I've seen on the telly once again, and I've watched, you know, other people's labour and delivery vlogs, and I just expected to feel high. Like, and I just didn't. Like, I was just sucking in this gas and air, and I'm like, what is going on? Like, I don't feel any different. Like, feel the pain. I don't feel nothing. It's shit. In my opinion, that's my opinion. There'll be many women out there that don't agree with me, will say Gassonet is amazing. My personal opinion, I think it is absolutely shit. It didn't do anything for me. So I can feel every single thing I'm taking in this Gassonet, and the more I'm taking in this Gassonet, the more I remember SHEMAR shaking me and saying, like, you look like you're about to pass out, like, you need to drink. And my midwife said to me, come on Monique, like, drink. I had Lucozade with me, which is the best thing to have during labour, because it's got lots of sugar in it, it boosts your energy, which is what you need. So I remember just trying to gulp down this Lucozade and thinking, oh my God, like, this Gassonet is making me feel so lightheaded. I tried to basically breathe through the contractions because I'd done a lot of research on the Positive Birth story, I think it's the Positive Birth Company, and hypnobirthing, and I really tried to stop breathing in the gas and air and basically just breathe, listen to my body and breathe, which I done for a little while, and I was really proud of myself. But I remember, like, the contractions were getting really, really intense, and I just looked up at my midwife and I said, there's no break, like, this is what I can't cope with, like, there's no break in between the contractions. And she said, yeah, like, they're obviously really close together, basically like a minute apart, and that's what I found really hard. And bearing in mind I hadn't slept the night before because my waters were breaking all night, I just remember looking up at this clock and saying, I can't do this. I'm going to be in labour for, who knows, hours, and I'm going to be in this pain, and I am exhausted, like, I can't do it anymore. And there was a lady screaming in the opposite room from me, and it was really off-putting because I just remember thinking, oh my God, like, shut up, you're just so, like, distracted, you're just really distracting me right now, and I'm trying to breathe and be really positive, and she just wasn't helping me. I just remember saying, I want an epidural. Just forget it. I want an epidural. I just couldn't do it. I just felt like I can't do this. And I remember saying to my mum and SHEMAR, I don't want to have the epidural. I've heard really bad things about it, in terms of, like, it messing up your back, and you know, like, I've heard women say that they can't have a shower after, you can't get up after, you have to have a catheter inside of you. Just all these things that come along with having an epidural, and I just didn't want it. I was like, if I can, I want to get through labour without it. But at that moment, I'm in that much pain. Honestly, I want to just say that you don't get a medal for not having the epidural. Do you get what I mean? You don't get a medal for giving birth. So however you give birth, whether you have a C-section, whether you have the epidural, don't have the epidural, whether you have pain relief, don't have pain relief, there's no medal. So if you have to have every single drug that they offer you, round of applause. It doesn't matter. No one gets any sort of recognition for not having pain relief. So at that moment, those were sort of thoughts that were going through my head, and I thought, I need an epidural. But the anaesthetist was opposite, giving this screaming lady her epidural, and I had to then wait for her. But in this time, I again just kept on saying the same thing. I need to poo, I need to poo, I need to poo. I was checked. Georgia was my midwife, and she checked me and said, you're 6 centimetres. Again, in my mind, I'm thinking, okay, that's only 2 centimetres from when I last got checked, but I didn't know the time. So the time, this has all happened within an hour, or maybe 2 hours. Yeah, 2 hours, and I've gone from 4 to 6. So that's not too bad. They say that you should go a centimetre an hour. Again, all right, that's positive. Okay, cool. I'm on 6. So an hour's now gone past, and I am begging for this epidural. I've had the cannula put in my hand because you have to have a drip once you're on your once you've had the epidural, and then I've had bloods taken. I'm literally ready. The anaesthetist has actually come in at this point and said, right, I'm here, you know, blah blah blah. I can hear them sort of talking, and all I remember saying, I grabbed SHEMAR and I was like, I need to poo. And then, like, my midwife turned around and was like, hold on a minute, let's just check, that might be the baby, you might not need to poo. She's checked, SHEMAR's looked, and he was like, I just remember him looking at Georgia, the midwife, and like, they just locked eyes and said, did you just see that? They saw all of Lorea's hair. She has lots and lots of hair, and SHEMAR just said he just saw all this hair, and I basically was ready to push. So I'm now at this point begging for the epidural, and I'm like, epidural, and she said, Monique, I think you're like almost there, you're ready to push. Another like 10 minutes saying you could be there, and I'm like, no, like epidural, and they're like, no, I don't think you're gonna be able to have it in time. Next thing you know, my midwife said to me, I'm going to pull the buzzer, it's no emergency, I'm going to get another midwife in there. We like it to be 2 midwives when women are delivering. And I just remember thinking, wait, hold on. She's pulling the bell, pulling the buzzer, whatever. Like, am I ready to push? Like, what's going on? And basically, I just remember thinking, this baby's coming right now. Yes, baby is here. Once you have this connect contraction, you start pushing. She took my gas and air away, and I just remember thinking, I could get this gas and air right now and just hit you with it. Why are you taking it away? It may not be helping me, but it's making me mentally feel like it's doing something to me. Physically, it weren't doing nothing. I could feel everything, but mentally, I'm thinking the more I suck this gas and air in, the more it's going to help me. So why are you trying to take it away from me? She was like, you need to concentrate on your breathing. Like, this gas and air is not going to help you. Just listen to me and listen to your body, and you're going to be able to do this. So I'm like, in my mind, I'm thinking, wait, I've not been here for that long. So what is the time? Because you're telling me that I'm ready to push, but I feel like I've not been in this room for very long. If you've not had a baby before, then my midwife's advice was just push like you are constipated. That is exactly what I'd done. At 9:35, Lorea's head was out, and again, another piece of advice for anyone that's pregnant and watching this, all I can say is listen to your body. Your body is amazing, and if it's your first pregnancy like it was for me, and you feel like, how am I going to do this? Because I've never done it before. Your body is amazing. Just listen to it. I listened to my body. I could feel Lorea basically coming down the birth canal, and with every contraction that I had, I just pushed. I don't know whether I was pushing right. You know, you don't know. You just got to sort of go with it. My midwife was amazing, and they basically put a little bit of pressure and to stop you from tearing and stuff like that. And that was my biggest anxiety and biggest fear, was having to either have episiotomy or tearing. Just for me, that thought of going through all that pain and then having to be stitched up after, nah. I was like, I can't. Like, that was just my biggest fear. But when you're there in that moment, you don't even care. Like, I literally didn't even care what was happening to me. I just wanted to meet my baby. And I remember just looking at this clock and just closing my eyes and thinking, just go with it. Like, just go with it. Go with that pain. And it was the most painfulest thing I've ever been through. I'm not going to sit here and lie. Contractions are really, really painful. I don't know why people say they're like period pains, because for me personally they wasn't, and I don't feel like the pain was in my tummy. I feel like the pain was, as I say, like down below, like you need to poo, but really painful, like all down the bottom, just so painful. But listen to your midwife. When your midwife says to you, go, like, push through that pain, that stinging pain of the head just sitting there. Once you've got that bit over and done with, you're good to go. I've heard horror stories of people's babies on their head bobbing up and down. Luckily for me, that wasn't the case. She was born 9:36, a minute later. So I pushed her out within 3 pushes, and I said to the midwife, I said, hold on a minute, like, you just told me that it's 9:36. So how long was my labour? And she said, you got examined at 6:10. You had her at 9:36. So your labour was 3 hours and 20 minutes. I cannot believe that I can sit here and say that my labour was that short. I feel so blessed, and just so, like, I was just so in awe of my own body to know that naturally, you know, my waters broke naturally and everything happened so smoothly. You know, I basically got up on the day and knew what day I was going to have my baby, and that is still crazy to me. Like, I find it so crazy that me and SHEMAR left the house like knowing that we were gonna have this baby.
Many hours later.
Hi guys, I'm back.
Okay, so how did you find like the labour and delivery during a pandemic? Like, what was your experience?
It was crazy. Like, I didn't even want us to step foot out of the house. Literally, like, home birth was not an option, but yeah, do you know what I mean? We're not trying to gush all over the carpets, living room, bathroom. That's a lot for me to clean up.
Yeah.
No chance.
Although the midwife did say to me, because I like the way I pushed, they couldn't believe it was my first baby, and they said, have a home birth next time.
Yeah, literally, she was so amazing. Like, honestly, within 3 pushes, like, absolutely extraordinary. I've never seen nothing like it before. Watched one born every minute, another, like, you know, pregnancy and birth channels and stuff like that, because I had to get a lot of experience, like, up my sleeve, like, really, really quick. So I had to really learn a lot in a short space of time, I felt, anyways. But yeah, literally, like, it was completely different. Do you know what I mean? Everything was HD, 4K. Like, down the corridor, I had another woman just screaming like, ah!
Push, Sarah! Push!
Oh, my pride!
Then I just got my girl here just like, just focusing, and then pushing, and every minute, oh, Shemar, I feel like I need to poo. I was like, what? Like, honestly, it was a bit of a mad thing, but
did you feel like a bit scared, because obviously the whole pandemic situation, like, was you a bit like the germs and shit, like going into hospital?
Like stepping into hospital, like it was obviously a bit scary, because obviously, like, you don't know what sort of, like, you know, disease is going around and how potent it is, and you know what if you could contract it and stuff like that.
Yeah, because we was just in lockdown, like, it was the first week of lockdown, so no one sort of knew what was going on.
Yeah, literally, like, you can't see the virus. Do you know what I mean?
And
like,
how we didn't actually know how serious COVID-19 was, because it was literally, as I say, the first week of lockdown. So everyone was a bit clueless as to, well, yeah, how serious it actually was.
Yeah, exactly. So it was, very serious, and at the time, yes, we can hear you. But like, it was just so scary. But
and how did you feel, like, obviously it just being me and you, because my mum wasn't able to be there? Did you find that, like, a lot of pressure, or?
No, not really. Like, I was just really calm. I tried to, be as prepared as possible. You can never be over prepared or too prepared. You never know.
Nothing prepares you for
labour. Do you know what I mean? So literally, I was just like calm, collective, ready. Do you know what I mean? Ready. So, and I was just there to support Monique and console her throughout the whole experience. And literally, I just tried my best. Obviously, there's only so little that you can do as a male, male partner, but. Just seeing your partner in pain is just, like, honestly the worst thing, and you can't do anything about it. Do you know what I mean? So all you can do is literally put an arm around and try to calm her down as much as possible.
Just want to say thank you so much to everyone who has already subscribed and watched our first video.
Yeah, come on, guys. Like, we appreciate it.
Yes, we appreciate it so much. There's going to be so much more content to come, and
that's right. Yeah, that's it. Obviously, stay tuned. Definitely a lot more content.
Like, share, subscribe, and thank you so much again for watching.